without any restrictions, and it to participate actively in public discourse, influencing policies and shaping the direction of the nation. It's very important for an individual to express their opinions. So I feel that free speech is very important in democratic societies. If we move on to the next slide, we see that in the recent times, like we're in the 21st century, and we see how the virtual world is growing. We see how there are certain challenges in it as well. Like the virtual world encompasses digital platforms, social media networks, and online forums where communication and expression occurs. And we also see that while we have been given the right to like base our opinions freely, we even face some challenges like online hate speech. The ease of anonymity can lead to the spread of hate speech, discrimination, and intolerance. We even see cases of cyberbullying or misinformation or even content spreading. So, like rapid dissemination of false information challenges the accuracy of content and informed decision making. Uh, Moving on to the next slide, we have a constitutional framework in India. So there are certain articles in the Constitution of India which deals with this concept of free speech. For example, Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A of the Indian Constitution, it guarantees citizens the right to freedom of speech, expression, and this is a fundamental right. It provides a vital space for individuals to voice opinions, share information, and participate in public disclosure. Now, if we talk about reasonable restrictions under Article 19, Clause 2, we see that while the Constitution of India is protecting our free speech, it also acknowledges that certain limitations may be necessary for public order, security, and morality. Because even though we have the right to actually voice our opinions freely, we even do need some restrictions, some reasonable restrictions, to actually strike a balance between individual rights and societal interests. We have two case laws that we have mentioned in this PPT. One is Shreya Singhal versus Union of India, and the second one is Kedarnath Singh versus State of Bihar, which is on the next slide. In the next slide, we have balancing free speech and regulation. So, as I talked about earlier in the Constitution of India, how we
Really sorry to interrupt. Are you not going to explain the case law?
I will. Can you? Yeah. So, Shreya Singhal versus Union of India, it was a landmark case, and this case centered around Section 66A of the IT Act. It basically criminalized online communication causing annoyance or inconvenience. And the Supreme Court of India, which is the apex court, it struck down Section 66A, and it emphasized that the provision was vague, overboard, and it infringed upon the free speech that we have been given. And in the protection of freedom of speech in the digital world, or in the virtual world, as we say, the court's decision reinforced the importance of safeguarding free speech in the digital world. In the next case law, which is also a landmark judgment of Kedarnath Singh versus State of Bihar, we see that in the scope of reasonable restrictions, the Supreme Court upheld the validity of Section 124, Clause A, which is sedition of the IPC Act. It that incites violence or public disorder, and the court distinguished between criticism of government actions and speech that poses a threat to public order, because it is actually very important to pose certain reasonable restrictions.
Sedition has been removed from the IPC, like Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, right?
Yeah, in the new act it is, yes.
Yeah.
Tanmay, can you please forward the slide? Yeah. Talking about balancing free speech and regulation, so there's a striking balance between protecting free speech and regulating harmful content, which is challenging. And regulation is essential to prevent the spread of hate speech, fake news, and harmful narratives. Because obviously, while we've been given the right to free to voice our opinions or voice anything, there are certain people who take the advantage of it, and they can spread hate speech and everything. So we do need a balance between it. And if we see intermediary liability and content moderation, online platforms often act as intermediate between users and content. We often see on social media platforms and everywhere how people can voice their opinions freely without having any restrictions. Um, then we have challenges and concerns. So, if we define hate speech and offensive content, what exactly it is, the challenges lies in defining what constitutes hate speech, and it can vary based on cultural, social, and legal context. Balancing protection against hate speech with freedom of expression raises complex questions as well. And like algorithmic bias and echo chambers. So, bias in algorithms can lead to unequal representation and amplification of certain voices, like we see. And in the part of concept of online censorship as well, concerns about online censorship revolve around the suppression of dissenting voices and limiting the freedom of expression, and striking the right balance between escalating content and preserving free speech, right? It remains a very significant challenge in this like entire world and everything. There are recent developments and regulations. So, like as we talked about certain case laws and the constitution, we even see that while our country is growing and everything, we have certain developments that have been taking place. Like there is this IT rule in 2021. It mentions the recent legislative efforts in India to regulate content, including social media platforms and digital media, because it is very crucial. And it discusses the guidelines related to content removal, transparency, and user protection. There have been certain ongoing debates, and the rules have sparked debates about government control, potential threats to privacy, clear and fair content moderation policies, and the tension between accountability and overreach continues to actually be a central core concern. By organizing like this presentation, we have I have personally uh, covered certain areas, like what is a free speech really about and the importance of it, how it works in the virtual world, the constitutional framework, and then we read about the challenges and the constitutional framework. Tanmay will be continuing the part now.
Yes, thank you, Stuti. So basically, the end part will continue the conclusion. So basically, the freedom of speech is not an absolute right. So basically, everyone's idea of the thinking is different, and he or she would have freedom to express. Like said by Stuti in Article 19, clause 1, subclause A, freedom of it talks about freedom of speech. So every citizen has the right to express his views, opinion, beliefs, and convictions freely. Words of mouth, writing, printing, picturing, or etc. are there. So basically, in that we have more part like right to propagate one's view, freedom of press, freedom of commercial advertisement, and etc. So basically, this right, as I said, it is not an absolute right. There are some restrictions which has been said in section 19, clause A, clause 1, clause 2, sub clause A. So basically, with an example, I can say like if we have freedom of right and absolute if we don't have freedom of right, if we have freedom of speech fully, so the as a term we know that defamation and sedition would be not been that much in the matter. Yeah, right now the sir has said the sedition has been removed, but if we see that the imprisonment in the sedition has been more doubled. So now we can move further on the the restrictions that have been put. That Article 19 subclause 2 states in an imposed restriction, and this right on ground of maintaining like sovereignty and integrity of India, security of the state, friendly relationship with the foreign states, public order, and the things. So yeah, so this is the end. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Are you guys done with your presentation?
Yes, we are.
That was a wonderful presentation. Congratulations to each of you. Are you open to
Yeah, of
Yes,
course.
yes.
do not take it like very formal. Let's discuss casually, okay?
Okay.
Are you guys comfortable in Hindi?
Yeah, of
Yes,
course.
yes, yes.
If you follow news आई थी वो अनअकैडमी के एक टीचर थे
हाँ.
he was talking about politics like कि नेता जो होने चाहिए वो अनपढ़ नहीं होने चाहिए
Yeah.
बस ऐसे नहीं होने चाहिए कि जिनको बस नाम चेंज करना आता हो
Yeah. Yeah.
उसके बाद अन अकेडमी took a step and an academy removed that teacher from
Yes.
his job. Like, what what's your say in that? Like, is it violation of free speech or it is a reasonable restriction?
Right. According to me, I think so. Like जैसे आपने that you said the comment that was passed by that an academy teacher, he has just stated a fact, and he has not pointed out any, like, what we can say, a particular person that, yeah, that person or X person is an like, illiterate and this. So it is like on the unacademy things, but I don't think so. It is a that big issue. And if we see that, it is an fact. Like if we talk
Mhm.
in the simple manner. Yeah.
Also, in to be very specific, the recent against the government.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
the government has invoked serious, charges against those persons by putting them inside jails and all. So, like, how to make a balance between a freedom of speech and that reasonable restriction thing? Like, which can be a balance.
So how can we strike out a balance?
जैसे यार
Like, can you
सोशल
briefly more explain?
हाँ जैसे सोशल मीडिया में we all have our handles, right? We have our
Uh,
freedom to express anything we want. We can
right,
write
right. Uh,
anything. Like, where should that boundary lie? और कहाँ वो balance होना चाहिए कि हाँ इस हद तक is acceptable and beyond that it won't be accepted.
I feel that as a citizen, also you have the right to know what is right and what is wrong. So, like, even if I am on certain social media handle or anything, I'll make sure to comment something or post something which is मैं अपना opinion तो raise करूँ, but at the same time I'll make sure that not everybody was saying or something, because like there have to be a balance. Like, certain
most of
point,
the
yeah.
yeah, just continue. Most of the time, when if we are talking about a government, like if we take people who support Y and oppose X. So in social media, basically they always try to influence people that support Y, not support X. So in that we can see that it depends on people's moral and ethics, like what they think. But there is a point, like you said, of course, it shouldn't be crossed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be balanced, like we can say it can be balanced by the people's thinking and that stuff. We can't do anything on it.
Okay. Also, the sentiment is very subjective. Like, if anyone is using abusive language in social media, it may hurt my
Yeah,
sentiments, but it might be okay with you, right?
yeah,
So it is very subjective, and we still need to find some way out to balance these things because
yeah,
online bullying and harassment are still being done in social media.
right.
Okay. Um, anything further if you can add?
Mhm.
And also, if you would have gone through the new drafts of the IPC, community service has been introduced as a punishment for defamation. Like,
Yeah,
अगर मैंने किसी की बेइज्जती कर दी है, like मैंने कुछ derogatory बोल दिया उसके बारे में, तो that is not a very serious offense. ठीक है, उससे किसी का वो physical harm नहीं हो रहा है. That's not causes so much harm of the society. तो उसमें क्या होता है ना, लाइक आई कैन, अगर मुझे पनिशमेंट दी जाती है वो इम्प्रिजनमेंट या फिर कुछ सीरियस पनिशमेंट, तो वो क्या होता है, दैट दैट इज टू मच, राइट। मैंने बस एक स्टेटमेंट बोला, उसकी वजह से मुझे 3 साल की अगर जेल हो गई, 2 साल की जेल हो गई, so that is too much. That's why the government has introduced community service as a punishment for defamation. So it's a welcome step from our government.
But as defamation can be like, हम बोल सकते हैं उसको, it can be a भड़काऊ statement also. It can like, if we are
Yes.
defaming someone, so it can create a violence
हाँ
if
हाँ,
some
इसलिए
party,
वो community service
yeah, in
is
the
an
service,
option. Community
yeah,
service is an
option,
option.
yeah, option it is, yeah.
If that defamatory statement goes beyond the level,
But
then you might get imprisonment as well.
as well, yeah. And also the sedition punishment is also been increased.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how was your experience, guys? Like, how did you find this topic?
It was good. It helped about new things and learn
Yeah.
about new things. So it was helpful for us working like as a teamwork. So it was a new experience, good experience.
Yeah, like we are working on the free speech, and now just like you have explained about defamation and sedition, so that thing like came on our especially in my mind, so I just opened it and studied more about it, like willing to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, have you guys read Constitution?
Like not till yet, we are on the go.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So
second.
it will be very helpful when you will read Constitution. Okay,
Yeah,
वो
yeah,
right to freedom of speech and expression, it's an important part
yeah,
of
it is.
fundamental
Right.
rights.
Right, yeah, like in right, like yeah, I want to that put one point, like as in the government we say that like in India is a democratic country, so there is a right of speech, like everyone has freedom of other country. If we say there is not a freedom of speech, so like if government is doing so you can't like do anything, make up the voice, yeah. So it can
Let's take an example of China. If
China, yeah,
anybody goes against that Communist Party,
yeah, they are
uh,
being,
be rest assured what would happen. Okay.
yeah.
So that's the thing. That was a wonderful presentation, guys. One thing, like whenever you make a PPT, do not try to avoid very long paragraphs. Like I saw in the conclusion part, that was a very long paragraph. So try to put the content in bullet points, and
Okay,
uh, it would be also you will find it handy to explain, because
yeah,
you can't just read line by line, right?
yeah, yeah.
So that is the thing which I wanted to add. And thank you for such an insightful presentation, guys. I
Thank
can
you,
see
sir.
that
Thank
you have worked really well. Also, you will be getting your next task, that is task 5, which will be the final task, uh, most probably tomorrow. And once you finish your task 5, you will be provided a form in which you are required to fill in your details, like your name, your institution's name, your
Mm,
course and course year. Also, you are required to add your formal photograph. Thereafter, we will issue your certificate.
yeah. Thank you, sir.
you so
Okay, so are we done for the day?
Yes, sir. So
much.
can we
Yes.
leave, sir?
Okay, bye bye, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay, thank you.